Infection by Salmonella typhimirium in the human body. What is S. typhimirium? Salmonella typhimirium is a globally pathogenic bacteria of humans and animals. The disease is most often foodborne, however, it can be spread person to person, but this is a lot more rare because that would involve feces to mouth, and that's just not as common of an occurrence as just eating food that is contaminated by salmonella. It is a gram-negative bacteria, which can be seen here in this gram stain from a blood culture. I thought it was cool that this was from an actual blood culture. This bacteria causes inflammation of the gut, which results in vomiting, diarrhea, and in the case of this specific salmonella, being Salmonella typhimirium, it causes typhoid fever. So this bacteria is characterized as a rod-shaped bacillus, and it's motile due to flagella. That can be seen here in figure 2. This is an animated visual. I just thought this shows the flagella a lot better than it would from a microscopic photo. And when it's grown on a plate, it can grow colonies about 2 to 4 millimeters in diameter in a somewhat smooth but slightly irregular round form that can be seen here on this McConkey agar plate. As you can see, the colonies are pretty round and somewhat smooth, but they do have some slight irregularity on the edges of them. So in order for Salmonella typhimirium to be completely pathogenic, it must possess the following 4 virulence factors. Number 1, the bacteria must have the ability to invade cells, which is pretty easy for Salmonella typhimirium to do because all it involves is the ingestion of food. Number 2, Salmonella typhimirium must have a complete polysaccharide coat, which it does have on its cell envelope. Number 3, it must have the ability to replicate intracellularly, which Salmonella typhimirium does have this ability. And lastly, it must be able to form its own toxins, which we will see in the next few slides, and once it invades the body, that it is able to do so. Where can Salmonella typhimirium be found? So, Salmonella bacteria resides in the intestines of animals and people. People can become infected by Salmonella through the ingestion of contaminated food or water. This contamination is done by feces. Most commonly contaminated are raw and unpasteurized products such as meat, seafood, eggs, dairy products, but anything can become contaminated by Salmonella through improper handling or not washing your hands after using the restroom, or one of the most common ways that Salmonella contaminates foods in the food industry is cross-contamination in the kitchen. So when you're going from raw meats to foods such as salads that are not going to be cooked, or using the same utensils from one thing to the other, or not washing your hands in between touching different foods. Also commonly imported vegetable produce can be contaminated through irrigation systems or soil that is previously contaminated. So washing any vegetable produce with water that's contaminated, or even watering the plants that are supposed to grow vegetables with contaminated water, will eventually contaminate the vegetable with Salmonella. This usually happens when the produce is imported from somewhere, not necessarily grown here. So what is the human body's reaction to Salmonella typhimirium? First is the invasion. Salmonella typhimirium uses the mouth and ingestion as its portal of entry. Once it's ingested, the pathogenic bacteria can actually survive the digestion tract, including gastric acids, which gastric acids are a form of defense. So the fact that it's able to survive that shows how strong the bacteria is. The bacteria then invades epithelial tissue in both the large and small intestine, and this is where it releases toxins, which were one of the 4 virulence factors. This invasion triggers the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines, and that's where diarrhea and vomiting come from. Defenses. So there's both nonspecific and specific defenses. Nonspecific defenses include gastral acidity, which we did see doesn't often work for Salmonella typhimirium. Salmonella typhimirium can get through that gastral acidity. There's also intestinal mucus and lysosomes. And then specific defenses include systematic antibodies. This is a great representation of the invasion actively happening. I'm unfortunately covering the key for these things, but this purple one right here, that's a phagocyte, and then this green is a dendritic cell. So as we can see, the phagocyte is able to ingest a lot of the Salmonella that's coming through. That's what these blue little things are, the bacteria. However, it's not able to get all of it. Same with the dendritic cell. It's not able to get all of it. A lot of it is still going right through the epithelial cell and invading it, and then that's where it's going to be releasing its toxins, which are going to result in the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines, which then causes diarrhea and vomiting as the human body's response. Let's discuss the prevention and the treatment of salmonella. So actively, scientists are looking for prevention treatments to apply directly onto poultry and produce. As we can see here in this graph, they're actually experimenting with different forms of treatments on all natural chicken wings to optimize the prevention and the spread of salmonella. So they're going directly to the food first to see how they can prevent contamination of food using different treatments. Some of these are obviously working better than others. But what we can do on our part to just prevent ourselves from ingesting salmonella is using proper hand washing techniques and avoiding any cross-contamination in the kitchens when we're cooking. That's ultimately the best prevention factor. However, if sadly salmonella does get into your body system and you are infected by it and it is causing you to be sick, the best thing you can really do is just supporting your body during that time. Salmonella will usually resolve itself on its own within a few days. It'll get out of your body through diarrhea and vomiting. But the best thing you can do is just trying to stay hydrated, getting your electrolytes in. I would say eating, but that's not really easy to do when you're infected by salmonella. Antibiotics are honestly a last resort when it comes to fighting salmonella infection. Salmonella is highly resistant to many antibiotics, and the increasing rate of salmonella resistance to antibiotics is actually a global concern at the moment. However, if antibiotics are used, it'll be from the class fluoroquinolones. Those would be used if antibiotics are used. So lastly, let's just discuss the actual discovery of salmonella. Unfortunately, my face is covering his name, but this is, well, it's also here in the text, Daniel Elmer Salmon. I say salmon because I'm assuming since it's salmonella or salmon, I would say salmon, but anyway. He is not the one who discovered salmonella. He's actually just the one who it's named after. His assistant is the one who actually discovered it. The discovery arose it happened in 1885 during their search for the root cause of hog cholera. His assistant, named Theobald Smith, he was isolating a bacteria from sick pigs, formerly named S. cholerae sui. That's what the bacteria was that they were trying to isolate. And through further research, it was discovered that that was not the bacteria they were looking for. Rather, it was a new discovery of bacteria that was then named Salmonella. This genus, Salmonella, is actually related to, because of the many similarities it shows, to the genus Escherichia. I hope I'm not butchering that. Anyways, that is all for my presentation. I do have some honorable mentions. Thank you for making it through to this last slide. A few honorable mention photos are me actually being infected by salmonella. So this is the salad that had salmonella on it, specifically the cucumbers in the salad. Before this day, I thought you could only get salmonella from like cookie dough and raw meats, but obviously you can in fact get it from cucumbers or anything that is contaminated with salmonella. This is me right before I tried to throw up. At this point in time, I didn't even have anything else to really throw up. I was trying all the medications. I was trying to drink water. None of it stayed down. That's me with a bucket next to me. We were actually on vacation in Virginia. The outbreak happened in Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. And I was one of the lucky people to experience the salmonella poisoning. But yeah, I did get through it. The only way you can really get through it is just letting it run its full course. That's pretty much all you can do. I did not take antibiotics. It didn't even last long enough for me to have to take antibiotics. I dealt with it for maybe like 48 hours, and that was it.